Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. We start our video with a couple shopping for custom tile. Well, mostly the wife yelling while the husband tried not to exist. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Why is this garbage so expensive? This was a while ago, but I thought I'd share my first bad experience in retail. In high school, I worked summers at my aunt and mom's tile store. All the tiles were either hand-painted by my aunt or the mosaics patterns were laid out by my mom. All of the base tiles were very good quality, either coming from Italy or Mexico, and cost my mom and aunt a pretty penny. So you can imagine this was a more pricey place. We made profit, but not great money. We barely broke even on some projects. This lady in fancy clothes and her husband walked in, and she immediately started making joking comments about how my aunt's hand-painted tiles were ugly. My aunt had a very distinct style, and I can understand how it wouldn't be for everyone. She came up to me and asked how much it would cost to install a custom-designed backdrop for her shower. These are the questions I asked and her answers. What are the dimensions of the shower? I don't know. What type of tile would you like? Tile? What look/style are you going for? I ended up having to walk her through all of the options and show her everything. When I wrote up her estimate, she got violently angry. She kept saying, "Why does this garbage cost so much?" When I gave the normal spiel about the quality and the custom work, she got very upset and said she wants to speak to management. So I called my uncle and he listened to all of her complaining and again tried to explain everything I already said. When she said the stupidest thing I've ever heard, I could get my shower done from insert big name hardware store for less. My uncle called her out on her stupidity. That was when she went fully off her rocker. Yelling at the top of her lungs, she was going to call corporate on him and he was going to lose his job. She stormed out the door and purposely knocked over 2 display boards, valued at about $100 apiece, one of which was a hand-painted piece, on her way out. Her husband then snuck over from the corner he'd been hiding in, grabbing her purse, which she'd left in her rage, and the estimate sheet, muttering a quiet apology on his way out. Best part is, a week later, the husband came back alone and signed off on the estimate to be installed. And no, my uncle did not lose his job as the co-owner of the business. I'll never understand how people don't understand that handmade stuff is more expensive. It takes a lot of time to do it. Why wouldn't it be more expensive? And our second story. Today I learned you have to tell grown adults not to microwave their phones. For context, I work in the retail branch of a company that specializes in mobile phones and consumer electronics. Our location also handles basic servicing and repair work, and we frequently act as the customer-facing end of public liability, PL assessments, when things go really wrong with the device. And ever since that whole saga a few years ago with phones spontaneously combusting, we get our fair share of panicked customers with battery paranoia, which is totally valid. If something catches fire on your countertop, I fully support asking questions and expecting answers. But then there are people like her. Let's call her L. L for lady, L for liar. You'll see why. Elle came in a few days ago, visibly upset, holding a melted hunk of phone wrapped in a dish towel like it was a biohazard. According to her, the phone had exploded in her kitchen while she was asleep. She claimed the blast had caused a fire, which ruined her microwave, some dish clothes, a floor mat, and for some reason a pair of shoes. She was demanding a full refund and compensation for everything damaged, and she kept referencing dangerous product liability and throwing around phrases like legal recourse and media attention. Not subtle. Still, we took her at her word, logged the phone, and sent it off to the public liability team at our head office for assessment. That's our protocol anytime a fire or injury claim is involved. We don't make judgment calls in store, we just send the device to the experts. Flash forward to today. We contacted her to let her know the phone had been returned and was ready for pickup. I happened to be the one manning the front counter when she walked in, already marching like she owned the building. While she waited, I pulled up the internal correspondence from head office on her case. We can see notes and summaries of interactions between customers and the PL team to make handovers easier. What I found was, well, a journey. Interaction 1. Customer stated she will go to the media if not given refund and replacement. Assessment pending. Interaction 2. Customer demanding refund for device and accessories and full compensation for microwave, dishcloths, a mat, and shoes. Assessment pending. Interaction 3. Do not issue refund. Device shows signs of having been placed inside a microwave. Traces of food, scorch marks, and radiation damage consistent with microwave combustion. Customer has not answered calls, unaware of assessment results. Yep, she microwaved her phone. That wasn't a malfunction, that was a warm-up cycle. I grabbed the box, walked to the counter, and tried to keep my face neutral. Me, hey there, Elle, so our PL team completed the assessment and tried to contact you, but couldn't get through. I've got your phone here, though I should clarify that it's being returned unrepaired. Her eyes narrowed immediately. Me, the team found signs of user-induced damage. Specifically, they concluded the phone had been placed inside a microwave or oven, which caused the combustion. The internal and external damage matched exactly what happens when electronics are exposed to that kind of radiation and heat. Elle, what? So I'm not getting a new phone? This is effed. I could already see her ramping up the drama. Elle continued, you know what? If I'd taken this to competitor store, they would have just replaced it on the spot, and I'd be walking out with a refund too. Me, sorry ma'am, but we can't issue a refund or replacement for a phone that was microwaved. That's not a manufacturing fault, that's food prep. She threw her arms up in disgust. Elle, well, I think something like that should be in the warranty manual. I blinked. Me, you think the warranty should include do not cook your phone? Elle, yes, that should be obvious. Me, I mean, it is obvious. It's an electronic device. The battery's lithium-ion. They go boom when exposed to high heat. That's sort of common knowledge. She glared at me like I just kicked her cat. Then in true Karen fashion, she turned on her heel, marched toward the exit, and, without breaking stride, flipped me off over her shoulder. No parting words, no apology, just a middle finger and the scent of singed credibility. After she left, I brought the phone to the back for storage and shared the story with one of my colleagues who almost choked on his sandwich from laughing. The rest of the afternoon, every time someone mentioned microwaves, I couldn't help but smirk. Here's the thing. Yes, we've all heard horror stories of phones catching fire. Batteries can be unpredictable when poorly manufactured. But when a customer cooks their own device, lies about it, and tries to scam the company for damages, that's a whole different flavor of entitlement. A charred, smoky flavor. Next time someone brings in a damaged phone and starts talking about how it just exploded, I'm going to have one question ready. Was it near a microwave? Or in one? I honestly think she just wanted an upgrade. She seemed persistent with getting a replacement, pushed for an upgrade, since the whole blowing up phone thing. I think she thought the company would be like, sure, just give her everything. And our last story. A giant birdhouse wrecked my house. Karen refused to pay. When my wife and I bought our house 6 years ago, the neighborhood was a mix of older couples, families, and a few folks like us. Quiet, early 30s, working remotely, slowly turning fixer-uppers into forever homes. One of the first neighbors we met was Karen. Karen was intense. She introduced herself before we'd even unpacked, letting us know she was big into birds and very active in local planning discussions. She didn't work a regular job, but always seemed busy with something, usually involving her garden, her parrots, or her never-ending list of community complaints. She was 39 at the time, single, owned her house outright, inherited from her grandfather, and she was proud of both her independence and her vision for her property. We were polite. That changed about 1.5 years ago when she started building something in her backyard. At first, we thought it was a shed, then it kept growing. Tall, oddly shaped, and covered in what looked like salvaged wood and repurposed chicken wire. By the third week, we realized it was some kind of massive birdhouse structure, later confirmed to be a dovecote designed to house dozens of doves. She built it right up against our shared fence line. I mean, right up against. No setback, no permits, just a towering, wind-catching monstrosity barely 10 feet from our bedroom window. My wife walked over one afternoon and asked her about it. Karen lit up. Oh, it's a traditional-style dovecote. I'm breeding a special line of white ring-necked doves. They're gentle, symbolic birds, very peaceful. And doves always return home, so I'm creating a roosting sanctuary. When asked about the permits, or lack thereof, Karen brushed it off. Oh, it's technically a freestanding accessory structure under 10 feet, so I don't need one, she said. Besides, the city lets us build up to the property line for agricultural projects. That last part wasn't true. We checked with the city. Freestanding structures still needed permits if they exceeded certain height thresholds. Hers clearly did. We sent her a polite letter asking her to move the structure or bring it into compliance. She responded by taping a printout of local bird symbolism to our mailbox and ignoring us entirely. Then 6 months ago, a windstorm rolled through. Nothing extreme, 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts, a normal spring squall. But Karen's handmade dovecote hadn't been anchored properly. Around midnight, we were jolted awake by what sounded like a freight train hitting the house. The dovecote had collapsed through our roof. It tore shingles, crushed part of the eave, and cracked a load-bearing beam in our attic. One of the support struts punched straight into our guest room ceiling. Thankfully, no one was hurt. But the damage was bad, $28,000 bad. We reached out to Karen the next morning. She looked genuinely shocked. Not apologetic, just surprised that it happened. "Well, I didn't think it would fall. I tested it myself," she said. "You built a 12-foot-tall structure with no permits and no anchoring. I mean, I thought the fence would help break the wind." We filed a claim with our homeowner's insurance, assuming they'd handle it. They sent out an adjuster, reviewed the footage from our security cam, and promptly denied coverage because Karen's dovecote was an unpermitted, improperly constructed structure. They said liability fell entirely on the owner of that structure, Karen. We gave her the estimate. She refused to pay. "You're just trying to take advantage of me," she snapped. "It's not like I did it on purpose. It was a storm." We filed in small claims court. Karen tried to argue that she had no obligation to pay because it was an act of nature and not malicious, but the judge wasn't having it. She ignored multiple zoning ordinances, built an illegal structure with no permits or plans, and refused to remedy the issue when warned. That, according to the court, made her entirely responsible. Judgment was issued for the full amount, $28,041, including court fees. Karen didn't have it. She tried to appeal, lost. Tried to set up a payment plan, failed to make even the first payment. Within 2 months, a lien was placed on her property. 3 months later, she listed it. The house sold at a discount due to the lien and structural issues. She's now 45 and living back with her mother 2 towns over. The new owners tore out every trace of the bird project and replaced the fence with a brick wall. Wow, that's crazy. The woman who wanted to create a dove sanctuary got hit with the consequences of her own unchecked hubris and had to fly the coop herself, straight back to her mom's house. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.